name and how old are you?
Hello everyone, my name is Samuel Sturdy and I'm here with Amber.
How old are you?
I'm 11.
My name is David and I'm 14.
I'm Kira and I'm 10 years old.
Hello, my name is Rosie and I'm 8.
I'm Tyler and I'm 11. I'm Laura and I'm 11.
Hi, my name is Jemima and I'm 9 years old.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Imogen and I'm 9 years old.
My name is Rachel and I'm 13.
My name is Lawrence and I am 6.
I'm Jack, I'm 10.
My name is Saxon. I am 9 years old. So what do you think was the best thing about lockdown for you?
The best thing was spending time at home with my family, my dad, my nan, my mum and my sister.
Getting to spend time with my cousin.
Get to be playing lots of football in the park.
Not going on as many car journeys.
Being able to spend more time with our hamster.
Having time with my dog.
I had never tried online learning before, and I had never, had yaps and things. So, it was kind of tricky at times, but then we got to know something new and try something new. And I always like trying something new.
Play with my brother and sister and go outdoors.
The best thing for me in lockdown was that I could just stop and look what was right in front of me. I've been doing DIYs and bullet journaling.
Probably I got to go to the park more, I got to get more exercise and just learn more things.
Well, I get to communicate with my family more and I get to spend time with them.
I had time to spend with my family and siblings and that I could play at home because usually I have too much clubs and I don't really have time to play with all my toys that I have at home.
Well, the best thing about lockdown for me was spending time with my family. I really enjoyed spending more time with them than usual. Also, it was quite a learning experience because I did something that I never tried before, staying at home for more than I usually would. So yeah, it was quite fun.
And what do you think was the worst thing about lockdown?
Not being able to see each other.
That's a hard question. The worst thing about lockdown is not being able to see my friends.
I couldn't go to school, which is very sad because I love school and also, well, there were many school trips planned for the year and we missed them, which is also quite sad. It's also just quite scary.
It's just being on the screen all the time for school. I was on the screen every day for about 4 hours, 6 hours, and it was just really tiring for my eyes. And also the fact that you're locked up inside, you can't really go outside to parks and things, so we just, it wasn't the best.
The worst thing about lockdown for me was not being able to go to school, not having the teacher there to help. Like, we only had 1 hour on Zoom.
Not being able to see my friends and not getting to school because all of my friends are there and hard for me.
Not being able to see my friends.
The fact that I couldn't see most of my family members, my friends, and something that happened to me was that I couldn't say a proper goodbye to my friend as she left the country because of lockdown.
I got bitten by a dog.
The worst thing about lockdown is that you don't actually see your friends until months ahead, and the only way to communicate with them is by a phone.
Not being able to see family.
Well, the worst thing about lockdown for me was just generally I
it was like I couldn't see people, and it felt like I was always locked up because I was at home all the time, and I got and at times it was just unbearable because I just wanted to see my friends and people at school and teachers, and so yeah.
The worst thing about lockdown was not go on the playground and not go in the park.
Did you learn anything about yourself that you found was a surprise? Probably when I was doing online learning, I didn't think I could get through it properly, but then I just managed to finish it, and then that surprised me.
I'm not sure. I don't think there was any surprises.
I've realised how much I've missed after school clubs.
I don't know.
I've discovered that I'm way more creative than if my mind sets itself to. I'm usually just like doodling and that's it.
That I actually quite like school.
I learned that I don't really get bored that easily, so I haven't really been bored in lockdown.
It isn't so bad living it during this lockdown, as you can learn to adapt to sudden changes in life.
Lockdown is kind of like, it's quite boring.
Really like how much I love school and all my different sports, yeah.
If I'm, stuck inside, not going outside, I become very drained. My energy's like, I'm not doing anything, so just, I want to sleep all day, and it surprised me because I'm usually not always drained.
No, I didn't learn nothing.
And do you have a message for our congregation? Well, just stay safe on public transport, wear masks, and keep sanitising your hands, and keep social distancing, so you don't spread the coronavirus.
It's tough, but you need to persevere and get through it, because otherwise I don't think you're going to stay sane very easily.
No, I don't.
My message will be to pick up a phone and speak to anyone you haven't spoken to in a long time and see how they are.
Stay safe, stay healthy. What about you?
Well, I think always remember to wash your hands and always remember to social distance.
My message to the world is be more creative, do things you wouldn't thought you would have done. I mean, we're in the house for like 5 months or more around that time, so you can do so much more things with your life than sitting at home watching TV.
Just keep doing what you're doing because it's a really good what you're doing, asking us to say things for the service, and I'm really thankful of that, so thank you.
I'm in Russia.
I think you should stay positive, stay healthy, stay exercised, and try to make your life better by not worrying too much.
Stay safe.
Bye!
Let's give our kids a round of applause, shall we? And we welcome our head teacher, Clive Hail, now. And I'm going to ask you some questions, if that's okay.
That's perfectly good.
One of the things that I know I feel a little bit guilty about is I grew up in Cornwall with a lot of outside space, roaming around in the countryside. And I often feel a little bit guilty about my son Saxon not having that same experience. Whether you think that we have forgotten to protect our children's childhood in favour of giving them a kind of urban education. Do you think our children are being forced to grow up too quickly?
Well, I think sometimes they are being forced to grow up a little bit too quickly, but I also think that it's part of my job is to keep that balance for the children between what the government and society wants them to learn, wants us to teach them, but also how important childhood is as part of growing up and learning stuff that isn't maths and English and science. So I think perhaps, yes, there are lots of pressures, and through all of the COVID situation, I know when we locked the gates on the last day, it was really incredibly sad when we went into lockdown. I remember walking away from the gates that the children had, it was Mother's Day, I think, and the children had just sung some songs to the families as they left the school, and I locked the gate, turned around and walked back, had a few tears and thought, what are we sending them off to? And what are we going to have back, and when are we going to come back? And I think that was a fear of the time, is that unknown of what was going to happen to their childhoods separately.
Yeah, I think that's interesting, because that's my second question, is what advice do you have for parents at the moment when we're living in a time that is full of unknowns?
So the best bit of advice I think I would give is to just let your children know that they are loved, and that will go a long way in helping your children to be all right, but also to be brave and let your children know that you're being brave and see you being brave, and that will help them to know that if you're okay, I can be okay, but if I'm loved, I know that things will be a bit better.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. What were your main concerns for children during the period of lockdown?
Well, it was their well-being and happiness. I wasn't worried about learning, actually. I know that the teachers did lots of work in helping the children to learn and giving activities for families, and that was important. But I thought actually the key bit of the learning, I thought, well, we'll deal with that when we come back. But most importantly, it was the children's happiness. But for me, it was a really difficult position to be in, because the teachers were having contact with the families and the children almost daily, and seeing the children and hearing them. But I was a step removed from that. I was getting feedback from the teachers about different families and what was happening at different times. But being removed was actually quite a big concern, because I couldn't see for myself how families were when they were coming into the playground or going home, but was relying on the teachers to be letting me know if there were things that I needed to think about for families.
And finally, Clive, have you been provided with good and concise information from the government and the education authorities in a helpful and timely manner?
So I've tried to remain quite non-political throughout this whole process, but it became increasingly difficult. And when to answer the concise question, when I got the 99-page document about how to make a climbing frame safe, I kind of thought, if it can't be done in less than 99 pages, then the climbing frame can't be made safe. But that was there was not a lot of concise information, and there was a lot of repetition of information that made it impossible to sift through. Was information timely? Not always. Was it helpful? It was guidance, but actually the decision making really came for the school individually came back to myself and the governors of the school, and it was a really difficult process sifting through quite what we should and shouldn't be doing, and sometimes, particularly because we came back as soon as we could, and at that weekend I think that we'd decided that the rest of the school should come back. The government said that the rest of the schools don't have to come back if they can't, and that wasn't helpful for us, because it left us in a position of going, well, are we doing the right thing or not? So the reason I've tried to be non-political was because I know how difficult the decision making was for me, without thinking how difficult it was for the country. But actually I did and was getting to the point of thinking, no, I need somebody to give me better guidance to know that we're being safe.
I think that anyone who's in leadership at the moment has been struggling with the information, and I think it's important for everyone to understand everyone's doing their best, aren't they?
Yeah.
With what we have. Have you got any advice, just a bit of positive words of wisdom of how we all move forwards now in our parenting with our children?
Just be loved and be patient and be loving and be caring and yeah.
Compassion.
Compassion, most definitely, yeah.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Thanks, Clive.
Thank you.